Hello, it's Howie Cat here, and welcome to another story time with a Halloween snack. I picked up M&M Cocoa, Creepy Cocoa Crisps. It says creepy, so it's Halloween, not just fall. I think they're just fall or winter because the taste is nothing special, and the colors are just fall colors. They're orangish red, burnt orange or something of that, an orange and a brown. So really doesn't matter which ones I grab. We'll just grab a few and pop them in the mouth. And they all taste the same, I'm sure. They're M&Ms. But for new M&M flavor. Okay. First thing we get is an exceedingly unpleasant mouthfeel. It has a nails on chalkboard effect to me. No, I'm not. No, they're delicious. I don't like the texture. Whatever that crisp is, it's got your candy shell. It's got your chocolate coating. And there's something inside that has the consistency of styrofoam. It feels like biting through styrofoam. It's got a really, it bothered me. I did not like, I like the taste. It does taste like hot cocoa at the end. You got a very definite hot cocoa taste, but that texture is just unnerving. I don't like it. I don't like the texture one bit. So anyways, we're done with the M&Ms. Let's hear a story. Last I was telling you I was going to a picnic for people to learn about this haunted house. And I went to it. It was a weekday after, or a weekend, Saturday afternoon or something. And at the time I owned what I've always called my comic book store. It was a comic book store. It was at the San Jose Flea Market within a... they had sheds that you could rent out monthly. And I rented a shed. It was, 20 by 10, maybe. You could definitely put a car in it. So they're big garages, locked up. I had my shipment of new books every week. I had walls of books, the wall books even, which are the more expensive books. I had regular customers, and I did okay. Mainly, I survived some of the big crashes into the 90s. I think I opened at about 90 and I closed about 94. I had this, I did okay. I was really mostly, it was a bad winter and into the summer where it rained every weekend for about 2 months. And it killed the flea market traffic. And basically, if you don't sell your new books the week they come out, you don't sell them. So, and I just ended up closing it. But at the time, I had a guy watch the booth, and I was all excited to go to this haunted event thing. And I got there, and I was a total noob. I was making the dumbest suggestions in the world as talking to the guys there. I thought, I'd just seen, I think, Candyman. I thought one of the greatest ideas ever would be a Candyman room. And you get there and you have to say Candyman, 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 and then a opening in the wall will open for you, and they're like, no, that just takes too long. I'm like, I don't get it. That'd be fun, And you hear bees, and I don't know. I just had, and I said the opening in the wall would take too long. Plus, you can't do that. It has to be a regulation size opening for wheelchairs. I mean, you can't just do that stuff that sounds really fun, like falling in pits and everything. I probably had those suggestions too, having never really worked a haunted house, just been to some. But I was excited. I wanted to join them and do it. And we got a walk through. It was at a mall, an indoor mall. And it was 95% closed. It had a restaurant, nightclub, also, but separate from us. or separate from them, I should say, and they gave a walkthrough and showed what the rooms were going to be and there were some rooms that said this is still up for grabs. People can put in suggestions, and we'll, if we like what you suggest, you can have the room. And so there was some cool room, and I just basically said, well, I'll just help right now. And I took any opening, I would just show up whenever they had hours that they would be there certain weeknights from whatever till whatever, because there was only certain times they were allowed to be there because city ordinances and people living nearby, whatever. It wasn't just a 24 hours, constructed things going on. I've done haunts that were 20, like I'm sure the one here in Reno had gone 4 or 5 days, 24 hours straight, because it's at the baseball field where they are active right up until like the third week in November or in September with ball games and stuff. So, and then they're open now. I'm going to be going this week, I think. But anyways, so I just would I said, I'll come in and I would just show up and say, what do we need? And they'd say, well, this room needs these things painted. And you could leave lists of what you wanted done for your room. And apparently these walls just need to be painted black if you want to go do that. Okay. This room needs lumber hauled up into it. You want to do that? Okay, whatever. I just was doing it, just to be a part of it. We need help in the makeup department. I was like, oh, I'd love to try that. And I was sucked at it. And real construction, I sucked at. I was terrible. But I learned I was okay because I decided there was a room available still. And I came up with the non-haunter suggestion of, I want to make a Twilight Zone room. And they said, can you do that? I go, I can do that, And I knew I could do that. I knew I could decorate up a thing. Years of making models and making dioramas and stuff. I had no fear about that. It was just like framing a door I couldn't do. And working the makeup department and trying to make a latex mask. I didn't know how to do that. I basically held molds while they poured latex. It was lame. I hated that. I couldn't make costumes, and there was costuming, and there was all this stuff. So I had the idea, and the room was basically, you call it U-shaped. As you walk in, to the left, there was an opening. It was like a gapped area where you would put the set decoration distraction. To the right was it was an enclosed box that had a door. So you would have a pop scare there. And in this enclosed box, because the room was essentially a U, you entered in one end, went around this box, and you went back down and out. And I had planned 3 scenes. So the first scene was the introduction to Twilight Zone. And a person would be in the enclosed box, and they could hit people at the 3 scenes. The second scene was Terror on Flight 45? It's the William Shatner Gremlin on the Wing scene. And I had it so that on the left-hand side, there was like some mannequins. And I built a set that looked like an airplane with a couple mannequins looking panicked. Because we had mannequins. This was that's what they had to use, and we used them. And on the right, there was this gremlin on a lever where you pushed it down and it would fling up into the window. I had actually cut out a porthole window on the wall, and it looked like, and I hung some cotton batting in it so it looked like sky and clouds, and this gremlin would just smash against the window, making a bam and scare people. And the third scene was supposed to be Eye of the Beholder, with a girl who had a very pretty girl who they couldn't make disfigured like the doctors, and that scene just never came off. It was just an empty room. And people would just come running out and bam, and whatever. The first scene, however, was my real scene. I really liked it. It came out so cool. I was putting little white dots all over the wall. The room was all painted black. The floor was painted black. And I just white dotted everything looking like stars. And that was taking a long time. And I also had a few other projects with this I was doing. So I put on the list that I needed help with stars. And then in the meantime, I went and found a door. I hung the door on the wall open halfway. I painted E equals MC squared on the wall. I found a giant plastic ball that I painted as an eyeball, and I floated that in the room. I found an old picture frame and a bunch of acrylic, and I busted up the acrylic, and I made a mobile type of thing hanging off the picture frame. And a lot of these were hanging at different points in the room, and it was basically recreating the introduction. You see a door, you see an eyeball, you see a mirror or a window break, and the glass comes floating out at you. And that's what with the mobile, the glass is floating out in front of the frame. And the stars look stupid. But this one gal came up and she said, do you want these to just be dots, or do you want it to look like space? I said, space. So I painted with dots. I was not an artist. I was more just creative. I could look at something like a picture frame and some broken plastic, and in my head I would see the broken window from Twilight Zone, and build that. But she painted it, and she got other colors, some blues and reds, and she painted full shooting comets and galaxies, swirls, and it was really beautiful. And then we set it up with 2 different strobe lights at 2 different speeds. It was really disorienting. And the introduction, the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da played. And as you walked in, the person to your right, there was a wall there with a hidden door, and the person would jump out from there and scare the people. And from what I was told, a fair amount of people actually fell into the scene over the half wall. It was about a 4-foot tall half wall that they put up, because you couldn't touch the scenes. But they said it was getting great scares. And actually, it won that year the most creative room, which was a new category for rooms. It was my first room, and they thought it was wild. And from that point on, every time I did a haunt, I was given a room, whatever I wanted. They're like, if you can pull off Twilight Zone on your first time trying, we trust you. And that was one of my, I guess you'd call them haunt talents, that I kind of did right away. And that was set decoration. And I would be called in a lot to set decorate over the years. I mean, you'd just come down and they'd be like, Daddy, which was my haunt name, Daddy, we need this room to look like a serial killer's bedroom. Go for it. I'm like, okay. And I eventually, 2-3 days later, it was a serial killer's bedroom. And so and I'll tell that story when I get to it, because this is for over 13 minutes. And so we've learned about my first room. We'll learn about I built that throughout September and built the rest of the house. The haunt opens in October, and I acted every night. So we'll hear about that next time. I'll talk to you later, folks.